I'm Josh Malang. I've been here for 14 and a half years. My role would be, I'm one of the lead techs in the shop, take a little bit more of a leadership role on the service side. Well, I've been here for a while, so 14 and a half years. I would have started here when I was in grade 7. So I grew up on a hog farm and then was family friends with the Kuntzes. My dad came and worked here, and then I followed him shortly thereafter. He sold used parts, and I was just kind of one of the yard laborers. Did a lot of whippersnipping, trimmed a lot of weeds, mowed a lot of grass, and then it progressed through me. Eventually, once I was done high school, I apprenticed, got my license be about 7 years ago now, and then started out mainly doing general repairs and then progressed more into the engine side, and now pretty much all I do is engine work, whether it's troubleshooting, minor repairs or major rebuilds, service calls, that sort of stuff. So definitely my expertise is in the engine world, and then progressing more into taking over more of the service side as well.
So when a truck comes in or an engine, can you kind of walk us through the process that you take when you're rebuilding an engine?
Well, as far as when it comes to a customer bringing the truck, obviously get the opinion of the customer, because that is the person that's been in that truck for who knows how long, in a lot of cases years, months, days, no matter what, they're the ones that know that truck the best. So gather their opinion first, and then we're able to see what the issue is. And then one of the first processes, obviously with electronics these days, is connecting a diagnostic computer, seeing the issues there, verifying all of the components as far on the electronic side, and making sure everything's kosher there, and then progressing to washing it. Obviously, a lot of trucks don't show up clean, so we take the extra effort before we're even taking it apart to wash it, so we don't cause any sort of contamination or anything like that. So clean it, bring it into the shop, troubleshoot, diagnose, and then repair from there. I would say we're probably ranging anywhere from 10 minor engine repairs a week to running like complete overhauls in a week, like once a week, complete overhauls, that type of thing. Usually our turnaround time on complete overhauls is within that 2 to 3 week range. The part I enjoy most about engine work is the fact of you get to see what you accomplish each and every day. Even when it's tearing apart an engine, obviously you're taking one big piece and tearing it down into 1,000 little pieces. And then the greatest gratification is when you get that thing back together and things start and they run well, and obviously the lesser the problems you've got, the better you feel about it. But definitely the fact that you are able to see what you've accomplished by doing hands-on work is probably the most rewarding side of it.
Very cool.
As far as things that we've changed throughout the years it's a lot more, especially with electronics growing. We have to be very standardized in how we process when trucks come in. So a lot of it is keeping logs on the electronic side, like the engine ECM. There's several different modules on the unit, so we do complete downloads of the truck, so that a lot of information can get lost in translation, whether it's been from shop to shop to shop. And through our connections, especially with the electronic side of things, we're able to document that, see if there's issues, resolve issues, and also communicate that with the customer at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely take the extra time and extra effort to supply the customer with something that they can be proud of. Mm-hmm. And obviously the first thing you're proud of when you see a job that leaves here is, one, whatever we worked on always goes on and it looks good. Even if it's a replacement component that we supplied, it doesn't look used, it looks new. So first off, the customer's proud of specifically the part or issue that was resolved, and then secondly, their truck always gets a clean. It's part of our VIP treatment. Mm-hmm. So then they feel happy sitting in the seat of their truck, leaving this place, knowing that they can see through a clear windshield, sit in a clean seat, and of course, based on the smiley face air fresheners, it smells good too. We want to get a bigger shop, so there's a lot of talk around expanding that area of things. Right now, we primarily run a 4-bay service shop, with one of those being a larger bay. And definitely there we keep busy enough that all those bays are always busy, and then We have the 3 extra bays that are actually outside, but a little tougher to use those during winter. So ideally we want to expand things as far as the service side goes. We're probably one of the top shops in Central Alberta that has the most tools as far as the engine side, and we're very well equipped to accommodate most common engines on the highways and even off-road agricultural, that sort of thing. Because of our tooling, we're able to have, for example, counterbore cutters that most other shops don't have. So we go around and do a lot of block repair, whether that's fitting liners or block repair in the sense of we do machining work in a sense, like we repair block decks with super metals and all that sort of stuff, and then can assess from there whether the customer or other shop needs further diagnosis or repair.
My name is Mark Kuntz. My job title is currently marketing, media, something. It's kind of a little bit of everything. And I started as a parts driver where I was picking up parts in the city and then bringing them down here. Now I do marketing. I get to take some pictures and we're moving everything online. And that's part of the awesomeness of working with TPI is that we're now moving all of our parts online so that way they're more accessible to you. I think the future of OnTrack is now moving more to, rather than just word of mouth, it's moving more online. And so with the help of TPI, we'll be able to hopefully have our parts be more accessible all over the world.
My name's Charlie. I'm the service manager at OnTrack Kuntz Company.
For how long?
Going on 17 years. From when I started here back a long time ago, it was from a gas station pumping gas to a full service truck shop. From a small, I think there was 8 people staff. Now we're 22, 24 staff. It's grown a lot over the last 17, 18 years for sure. Technology's hard to keep up, but I think we're at the forefront. We went from being a small couple guys in the shop with mechanical engines to full-on laptops and all the electronic stuff. And I think we're right at the forefront of that.
What is something that OnTrack does that sets you apart from other companies in this industry?
I guess providing a broader service. Most truck shops just offer OEM replacement parts. We can offer OEM, aftermarket, in-house programming, injection service. Like, we just cover a wider horizon of parts and services.
Adam Kuntz, project manager in sales, or sales, I guess. Been here 2.5 full years. I've been working part-time here since I was 15, so that would be 12 years, I guess, in my spare time. So the process for us, obviously, our big thing is diesel engines, so we're usually looking for the buy for the product of the engine. So we're getting calls in, we need C15, 3126, ISX, whatever it could be. And for us, the big thing is buying engines that fit where our market's at the time, and then with that comes the divisions out of that. So the wrecking division, obviously, buying the truck, that comes with the engine, you get the carcass. So in that, there's still lots of value. Basically, we're massive recyclers here in the sense of we try not to waste anything, and you try and hold on as long as possible due to the fact we have an abundance of space with 30 acres. So we have that luxury where we can hold stuff longer than a normal business where their shelf space is a little more sensitive in that they have to move that product quicker. And so our product life cycle, it can last a little longer. So I mean, we like to classify things in like A, B, C, and it's not so much on basing a customer that way, but more or less the price points and what a guy needs at a time. So I mean, some guys love OEM, some guys love aftermarket, and some guys love qualified parts. The reason for is they're at different levels apparently through the marketplace. For us, I mean, if you get a used engine in, for example, we'll keep a couple as good runners because some guys can only afford that at the time. And so you leave some options there where we'll keep them there, and if they want to rebuild it or do an in-frame, absolutely, we can go ahead and do that. But the process of doing it right away without thinking of the extra clients that may just need that good runner, then yeah, you lose that business. So you want to make sure you tap into all markets for different classifications and different price points for guys, because everyone's story is different. and everyone's budget's different. So you try and make sure you can cover your bases from A to C on that. We've lived off, obviously James talked about the Kuntz and Kramer a bit and the reputation of the Kuntz name in the diesel industry. And for us as On Track, we have a lot of reputable customers that come back all the time, and that's fantastic. But moving forward to keep expanding and growing the way we are with the additions and with the warehouses, obviously, and the future plans for the service addition and stuff, is that if you're going to have that volume, you need to have that one-time customer that can be turned into a returning customer. So the online presence, basically, it's that grasp of attention. You know, it's that one-time user that might be in Boston or, you know, wherever that we've sold parts. I'm sure James has talked to you guys about selling engines in the Greek Islands to Chicago to all over, and for us, it's, you know, our business isn't limited by where your location is for any business, but the online presence gives you that access to those marketplaces, and so we survive off service, and if you can keep serving guys with the same customer service throughout the process, guys love to shop here. So for us, I mean, we have the diesel engines, which is the main thing. And out of that comes every division. So with the teardown process that you guys saw over at the cold storage, and I don't know if they showed you the red shop, but that'll be turned down into a teardown like facility basically. And so when you get those qualified engines or those trucks that you want those specific parts off, you have that space. That's nice to do. And out of that comes the product. So with the product, with the qualified parts, is we can go through, make sure they are what they are, they're still usable, they're blasted, painted, put on the shelf, whatever they are, and then they're put into inventory with us, and then the partnership we have is it's easily accessible to the marketplace. So getting all that stuff online, yeah, we may not have everything in inventory in our system, but we have everything in inventory in the sense of we have it around. The time that it would take to, you know, barcode everything would be ridiculous. But to know that guys can trust you, even just, oh, hey, there's a truck here, we have, you know, this, he probably has your parts, give us a call. You know, same thing with, you know, how Holstead, they just do full trucks. For us, we try and do individual parts, and we'll be a little more detailed in that, hoping that we can, you know, cover a little more specific bases. But obviously it is a nice touch to have, and then it can get processed through to here where, you know, it's in your inventory, it's in your TPI inventory, and people at least know about it. And you know, you don't think about it, but even the quick search that, well, I do have that in stock. It's a nice added feature of stuff that may not be in our CarMax system, but it's in our TPI system. Right. So it's good for our salespeople too, in the sense that you want to create a system where you keep all the knowledge, but you don't have to be a rock star to make sure you still give all the service that you need to your customer at the end of the day. So for us, I mean, having that TPI site, you know, our parts people, they don't know about everything that might be in the back 40, on the shelf, or in the left trailer, or wherever it may be. But they know, hey, if I check that system, more than likely we'll have most of that stuff online. And it kind of is a nice relationship, and it helps them out a lot. So, and for us, it's time down, right? So if a guy's not having to, you know, drive to the shed or drive to the warehouse or that, they can just quickly scan it and find it. Of course, it saves them. And for us, that's huge for the future. Is your operating costs drop, you're heading, you know, you're creating it for everybody that's in there that can sell something then. So you're not limiting yourself to just sales or parts. Like if I'm busy in sales, some of the parts could, you know, hey, we have that truck down below. Why don't you just get a little information on it, give a guy a call back when he's ready. So at least you're leaving a customer with something. You're not just like, hey, sorry, I don't have that. When really we do have it, it's just how can we make sure you get all the information. So Lawrence will get a package in. Obviously we have a customer shelf on the other side, and basically whatever the customers don't use, we want to make sure is there anything in there that's still usable or salvageable. So we'll go through that, as well as when the boys are tearing down engines for jobs. So let's say we're creating 3406B or, you know, the C12 or whatever it may be. Out of that, they created that engine using a kit and some, you know, qualified parts, and it's kind of a mixture to save the guy money, but also make sure you get a quality product. So out of that, you still have stuff left over that may not have been used on that job, but they could be used somewhere else. So you'll get bins in here from those, whether it's a head, you know, you can bring the camera if you want, and it could be any of this stuff where it hasn't been processed properly yet. And so Lawrence will come through, break down what it is, find the part numbers, go through all that, scan it so we can put it in our system, and we'll go through and make sure it can be reused first of all. If not, we can put it to a core dealer. If not a core dealer, then we'll end up being a scrap. So at least it'll be put somewhere where it's getting used or recycled. So that's a big thing for us, is that we use up everything to the best of its abilities, and once it's no more, we at least scrap it properly, and, you know, it's not just being thrown away basically. So I mean, futuristically, this within the month will be our teardown facility. So basically having not just people taking stuff apart just because to do it, or like we need that engine, so we're doing it. we'll have an actual team in here that can come through, and their job is specifically to qualify each parts for that division. The aftermarket parts we have an abundance of, same with OEM. So for us to have that feature where we can spend more time on the abundance of qualified and used parts we have in the yard is a big deal. And it's worth putting the money into for us. So having a team in here, you can break down stuff specifically, not just, we have this engine, take what you need off that. It's specific to, the PCC in front. So even like a valve cover or something, like the guys haven't really started yet, but they're in the process with all have their workstations set up properly. You still have a bay to bring a truck in to tear down properly, everything when you get a new truck in. And so it'll actually track properly instead of just throwing in the yard. We can take off all the bigger goodies and stuff. So even for our tires, it doesn't seem like much, but to sell used tires, a lot of guys want a deal. They don't want to pay $600-700 a tire. So just to find, good tread, take those off. A good hood, take that off. The engine's got to get pulled, the tranny's pulled, fuel tanks are pulled, You basically want to leave your cab and chassis, and obviously it has a van body. You can leave it on that frame until you find a good frame to put it on, but until then, it makes sense to leave it there. So for us, it's just kind of simplifying our processes, and then even stuff that's core value. The big thing for this too is the guys have a space to organize. So you'll see totes kind of all over the place that'll be used for different jobs. Basically, they'll bring a job in. Okay, we're doing all our brake shoes, or we're doing all our clutches, or we're doing all that, where guys can fill those up, track them, how many are in there, find a good core dealer, and distribute them out. So they're not just being scrapped, they're being utilized and maybe reused somewhere. For sure. Yeah, the reconditioned trucks obviously are a big hit. So people can use Kijiji, we can do that too, or whatever those things are, but TPI as well, and that asset with this relationship is you're connecting the same people that use these products, right? So it's not just looking it up on a search engine. Those are nice to use, we'll still use them because you want to open your audience, but the TPI factor for us too is having that relationship. It creates access for people that say in the same industry, yeah, we have that truck that you need to go to work, so look us up for that. Same thing with our engines, right? So guys, sometimes they just do good takeouts. For us, we like to spend that money on a rebuild. So a guy that wants a little more confidence, wants that warranty support, wants any of that stuff that comes with a brand new engine, is basically what you'll get with us on those rebuilds. So when you get that workmanship warranty or the parts warranty on the kits, it's a good feeling for a guy spending $40,000-$60,000 anywhere in that range, right? So it's good comfortability, and kind of, like I said, I always go back to it. It's just more service for those guys and creates more customer clientele. Yeah, we don't really limit ourselves from, whether it's taking tanks off or, dismounting, remounting van bodies or tailgates or whatever it is. We don't really limit ourselves to the fact that we're just a service shop or just a parts, depot or whatever it is. Like, we have all the facets and all the tools, and I think James and Ron have really dedicated spending the money back into their business, into the sense of putting it towards tools and machines that are used properly that make us run that much more efficiently and kind of give us that edge to kind of cover every base. Big thing is obviously doing what we do at a higher level. So James always wanted the bigger service shop. We are all on board for that. Reason for it is to take it to the next level where you can do everything from long haul trailer services to diesel customization builds that you guys have seen throughout. Out of that comes different divisions. It's pretty hard to find a good quality used heavy duty truck or medium truck, because usually they're bagged out or you're used up, to the point where they're not really practical for what their uses are. So we go through and do all the work people don't want to do in recertifying them and going through it properly and making the investment early while they don't have to, so customers aren't scared to buy something and worry about what it's going to cost to get it certified. It's ready on the lot, certified, ready to go, as well as emphasizing probably growing that injection shop so you cover a little more base and support for the business itself. We've also looked at the machine shop idea, what it would look like to in-house our own blocks and stuff. So when you're grinding castings or you're going through the cleaning, the polishings of the cranks, that stuff we outsource that we want to maybe in-house, in-source. So it really just comes down to not really limiting ourselves, giving yourself the option to have the full process in-house, and a guy knows everything's done here and they can feel comfortable